It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wanted to see in Asia that the markets are bearish or the markets are bullish. But that just means what kind of raw meat you are selling. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
We're back with Talk Funny on Mark Bailey. Mike Miller is here. We were talking off mic about there's a conspiracy theory. Like, I'm a real sound guy. I'm not ASMR insane, but I really am good at identifying sounds. And the conspiracy, I agree that Bill Hicks and Alex Jones sound, they could be the same guy. And of course, Bill Hicks
and they have a similar, like, they look similar too.
Same accent too.
Yeah, and
same
from Texas, right?
Yeah. And of course, Bill Hicks passed away. Beloved comedian. He's probably number 4 or 5 on my top comedians of all time. Carlin and Pryor and somebody had to take Bill Cosby's place. So,
so there was a space open, and Bill Hicks was the lucky guy to get
Bill Hicks,
put in.
He lived way too short, and he had way much more material for that. But he was just no holds barred. He had no more flicks left to give.
Yeah,
that's what I love about comics.
Ducks, right?
Ducks.
Yeah,
he didn't give a duck. People were taking ducks from him.
And he called the police.
Duck off. You're going to have to listen to the others to get this. But you were talking about that it's ironic that Alex Jones is getting these trolls calling in saying that he's really Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
And Alex Jones is, you don't even understand what a conspiracy theory is. Tell me, Alex, what is a conspiracy theory? Because Alex Jones has spent all this money on conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And Alex Jones is saying, like, no, see, I'm telling you it's not true, and you're using that as proof of the conspiracy. Yeah, Alex, that's what a conspiracy theory is.
I don't know. I can't claim to have ever listened to one of Alex Jones's like full episodes or anything. But yeah, it's hilarious that he's got these conspiracy theorists following him around.
And you were talking about something, and I cut you off.
There was a great for those of you who have watching on YouTube. There's a great Comedy Central bit about Jim Jeffries where he gets like these 6 different conspiracy theorists in a room,
right?
And he's just saying, like, what do you guys think is like one of the craziest conspiracies? And so one guy's like that the Earth is flat, and then on the panel there's another guy who's like a flat earther, right? And they're like, it's kind of, it reminds me of, there was this psychological experiment, I guess it was in the 60s, where, you know how when people become mentally ill, some people, they start to think they're biblical characters. So there's these people who believe they're Jesus Christ.
You can just call me Moses.
Yeah, just call me Moses.
Yeah.
There's people who believe they're Jesus Christ, and so the psychologist wanted to see what happened if he got 3 people who think they're Jesus Christ and put them in the same ward, psych ward.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it felt like watching that interview. It was hilarious because these guys are like, no, the moon landing was a hoax. No, that's ridiculous. I'm just fighting.
You know, there's actually a conspiracy that they said the moon landing was a hoax, but there are actually secret Jewish bases on the moon.
I thought it were Nazi bases.
So I mean, have you heard this?
Are the Nazi bases and Jewish bases?
I haven't heard the Nazi one, but I heard the Jewish one. And they said the secret Israeli bases. But the Americans never went. So when did the Israelis go? Maybe they went when the Americans went, and they got off on the same flight, or
they hitchhiked. They were hanging on. They were hanging on to the lunar landing.
Remember
the way the Mossad were like hanging on.
It's one tiny step, and it's too small. It's one small step for man. One giant bagel for mankind. But remember when the Israeli moon base was not televised? Remember the American was? Wouldn't it be opposite?
If Israel was on the moon, why would they care about land in the Middle East? They'd be like, screw it. We found another desert.
That's another thing. That's kind of ironic in the Torah, where, God says, you're my chosen people, so I'm going to give you all this vast land. Yeah. Because at the time, that's the land you knew about. All this vast land. It's like the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
What about Alaska? Yeah. Could you give us Alaska? Oh, you didn't know about Alaska then.
Wasn't there these weird plans too? Like, weren't there weird plans in the 1800s for different places for Jewish people to go other than Israel? Yeah. Like, what was it? Wasn't Alaska one of them or something?
Sicily was one of them.
Sicily, and then there were a couple of weird locations that people proposed as a new Israel, kind of. Like, it's a weird story.
Well, there was a thing, it was probably late 80s in Japan, where they said Japan, there's a couple of scholars, and a Japanese scholar is a oxymoron. Actually, not a moron, but because of the Olympics, and he sold some books, and he said that the Japanese, because Japanese are polite. See, right there, I don't believe it. Japanese are polite, so they're the lost tribe of Israel.
Yeah,
you lost me already.
But
he said, no, not polite. He said they're neat, and they're very painstaking about the way they prepare food, and they believe they came from the sun, which basically means the sun chose them. They're the chosen people, and this kind of thing, I said, but if you were chosen by the sun, wouldn't you be Christian? Because wouldn't you be the son of God? But anyway,
this is in debating what we used to call squirreling, where you're just basically trying to get from A to B in any particular way you possibly can.
Well, remind me of Jim Jeffries. I think I saw him in New York, and he got heckled. He was talking about the flat earthers, and he said, between you and I, we both know they're out of their effing minds. And somebody goes, how do you know? How do you know it's a flat earther, right? And he goes, how do you know that the earth's not flat? And he goes, have you been to Jamaica? And he goes, what does that have to do with the flat earth? And he goes, have you been to Jamaica? And he goes, no. He goes, how do you know it's even a country? Right? You haven't been there.
Well done.
Because it's just on a map. Because it's on a map. Yeah. The heckler goes, but the map is flat. And people are like, you get out of him, get him out of here. And he goes, no. He goes, you want to know where the idiots are. Are they close to the exit? Are they near you? Do they have a butter knife? You know.
Well done. I love him. I really love Jim Jeffries. He's great.
He said, yeah, because the map is flat, so the earth is flat. He goes, have you ever seen a globe? Is it flat? And he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't know we're teaching preschool here. I was actually here to just do it. I thought we were on the same ground, literally.
Yeah.
I thought we were on the same plane. And I don't mean flat. This flat earth stuff, I just can't believe people believe that. Well, you've got to be riffing me.
Well, and the funny thing is that the first people to discover that the earth was round was actually the ancient Greeks, because they noticed that they could see the masts of the ship coming into port before they could see the bottom of the boat.
Right.
And so was it Democritus, or one of the ancient Greek philosophers, said, well, the earth must be round then. And now we're in 2019, and we have satellites in space that send us pictures of the Earth 24 hours a day, and there's a group of people who claim the Earth is flat.
We're going backwards.
What the hell?
We're going backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, 1969, I remember I was 6 or something.
That picture of the moon, Earth from the moon, right?
Yeah, I was 6, and it was live on TV. Mm-hmm. And, and my dad said, you need to watch this. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. They're walking on the moon. So I said, I'm going to go outside. He goes, watch it first, then go outside. See if you can see him. You're not going to be able to see him.
Yeah.
And so I watched it, and then I went outside, and, it came back, and I said, yeah, I couldn't see him. It looks the same. And my dad said, that's because they didn't go. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. No,
and it
would screw me up if I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, the government lies? What? You're not supposed to find that out until you come to Japan because of the Olympics.
Exactly. That's when you get off, you get a briefing book in the mail, and it tells you about the moon landing, the CIA, and what actually happened.
And so, you heard this conspiracy that actually the people that believe in the flat earth, they never went to the moon. They didn't go.
That's right.
And the people that shot JFK never went to the moon.
I don't know. I've heard they eat babies, but I don't know. I've
heard that a bear that defecates in the woods never went to the moon and thinks Elvis is alive. But the bear doesn't understand human speech, so how would he know who Elvis is? But I just don't believe that flat earthers exist. That's my conspiracy.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. I like that.
Shut up, ghost.
That's what I loved about the Jeffries bit, was that if you put enough conspiracy theorists in a room, they're all going to start disagreeing with one another and thinking the other person's insane, and they're all insane. I mean, it's
Jim Jeffries, and he got a head called somebody else. Oh, he was doing the moon landing. He wasn't talking about the moon. He said something about cheese, and so he said, speaking of cheese, what about the moon landing? And he goes... And now we're talking about the moon? Wait a minute, but you think the moon is made of cheese, but we didn't go there?
Did you see my favorite response to one of these guys, conspiracy theorists, on the moon lunar landing is Buzz Aldrin? Did you ever see that video with Buzz Aldrin?
Somebody.
He punched a guy in the face. But to be fair, the guy. It's not like the guy was just saying this to him. The guy kept following him and pestering him.
And he's in a bubble. He really believes this crap.
Yeah.
And then one of the Jim Jeffries things, and he said, yeah, so we never went to the moon. And he said, by the way, I love you guys, but I was never here. So, see how it feels? But you remember, Mike, you just asked me about the Jewish question. Deny that you did. You just did. No, I didn't.
I did that right after I stopped beating my wife. So
you didn't do what? Tell me what you didn't do. I didn't ask you about the Jewish question. Edit. Mark, about the Jewish question. Jesus.
Just wait for the deepfake video.
We're going backwards. We have the technology for any individual to record every conversation.
Yes.
Are we going backwards?
Yeah.
Like, did this podcast even happen?
Yeah. No. We're actually...
After we're gone, it's like, those guys weren't even in Japan. They were on the moon from an Israeli base.
Yes. Funded by the Russians.
Yeah, because the Olympics. They were on a secret Israeli base. I got a story, actually, about being recruited by one of the agencies.
Oh, yeah?
Attempted
Did you get a tap on the shoulder and a little slap on the cheek?
Nice little condo in the moon base.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll talk about that later. It's Mark Bailey with Mike Miller, and thanks for listening to Talk Funny, guys. And hello, Deborah Harry. Anytime, I'll drive you around. Thanks, guys.